Welcome to The Artistic Process. This is episode 10, The Artist and the 80s Baby Boom. Proudly brought to you by Movement Apparel. Please use my discount code I am an artist for 15% off at checkout. Visit movementapparel.ca for all the latest street style sportswear inspired by dancers. And they are continuing their movement to donate 5% of each sale to the Fondation des Artistes to help artists in our time of need. I am your host, Giulia Tripoli. Today's incredible guest is the epitome of genuine realness. He leads with love and inspires the world by truly being himself. We need more Neil Schwartzes in this world, trust me. You know what? I'll let you hear why for yourself. Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to welcome my beautiful twin to the show, Neil Schwartz.
Yay! Clap it up for good energy.
Woo, woo, woo. 1984 for the win.
Yay! Good year.
I'm so happy to have you here. Just thinking
so
about
honored.
you honestly brightens my entire day.
Ditto.
You make me so happy, and I know you do this for so many other people. And you and I have already had tons of great discussions. You've been on my Instagram Live, and I kind of wanted to bring you into this podcast because I think you have so many valuable and important things to share with our community. Let's start at the beginning, from young Neil to now, and anything you'd like to share about the beginning of your journey and how it got you where you are today.
Young Neil was a brat. If I could look at myself, I would probably smack myself across the face a couple times. No, I mean, I was always the same person I am now. Like, I take after my mother. She's very like charismatic, but she's very loving and she's very feeling, and she's very caring of other people's feelings, and wanting to make sure everyone's okay and any way that she can help and stuff like that. And I definitely got that from my mother for sure. So I like to say that stuck with me throughout the years. I would say young Neil was very ambitious, but very awkward and very different. So I've always just been very different. So when everyone was over on one corner, I would go over to the other corner. Not saying that I was like a loner or anything like that. I mean, at times I probably was, but I definitely had my group of friends. I was definitely loud and just wanting to make people smile and stuff like that. But I would say I always kind of felt like, especially younger, that not that I was ashamed of who I was, but I just didn't know. I just didn't have anyone I could speak to that would understand what I was going through. I always kind of felt like I was alone in that aspect. Like I knew that I was gay from a very young age. I knew that something, I guess, was quote unquote different, even though it's normal. I think that, my parents never gave me a feeling of that if I had come out, that I would be like shunned in my religion, or I would be like kicked out of my house. But I think that, during that time, I definitely grew up at a time where it was slowly becoming more and more and more acceptable.
Right.
And more people were kind of talking about it. It was in media more, that, and stuff like that. But I think that I was always just like, I have no clue who to talk to during this. And I went through a really bad time when I was like 13. I had lots of panic attacks. I became very, very quiet. And I suppressed all my emotions and like all my dreams and desires and goals and anything that a 13-year-old dreams about, I kind of hid to the back of my mind because I thought it wasn't acceptable, and that's why I it wasn't until it wasn't until so my younger like I'm gonna be honest with you. Did I have a really good childhood? Am I very happy? With that, yes, I have. I mean, my high school career, my maybe my not my junior high career, but my high school career, I really found my friends, and some of the best memories are from high school. But I would say that like from age I want to say 8 to about like 16, I was really soul searching and I was really stuck.
Mm,
Yeah, so seeing, from a younger version to how I am now, it's because of an incident that happened to me when I was 21. And then again, when I was 26. So when I was 21, I was diagnosed. Nope, lies. I was 20. I was about to be 21.
okay.
I was diagnosed with a blood clot in my right leg. Nope, lies. My left leg first. And my leg blew up to like twice its size. And
Wow.
yeah, and I I was with a group of at that time friends who basically left me, but um, I
So not
was
friends. So not
exactly
friends.
yeah. That's you
Got
can't
it.
see my finger quotes, but
Right,
my
right, right.
um, but yeah, no. I was, I developed PTSD, a heavy, heavy case of PTSD. I couldn't sleep. I had lost a lot of weight, an unhealthy amount of weight at that time.
Mm,
Um, I was scared for my life. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I literally was just scared of my own self because I had somehow convinced myself that if I had left my house or my dorm or something like that, that I was going to die or something like that. Something tragic or something big was going to happen. I
mm,
convinced myself, and it was all because of the trauma of, heading into a hospital. I was on a road trip with a bunch of friends, and basically long story extremely short, um, I developed this life-threatening thing that went into a pulmonary embolism in my lungs, and I almost had a heart attack. So at age 20, so while you're on a road trip, a spring break road trip with your friends, quote unquote,
oh,
uh,
yeah.
you know, there was just so much going on mentally with myself, and I just wasn't happy. I felt like I was kind of pushed into like a field that I didn't really want to go into, and my parents were very supportive, but they're like, well, what do you want to do, and I finally decided. I remember, I'll never forget this. I was on my hospital. I was in the hospital. I was in the ICU unit of all places, and
Wow.
I call her my guardian angel because she stayed with me throughout the night, and we're still friends to this day. But my friend from childhood, we hadn't spoken in a while, and she just so happened to go to this college and that I was visiting at that road trip, and she basically we bumped into each other, and she stayed with me the entire night while I was in the hospital, and until my parents got there, and we've been like inseparable ever since, and I love her very much. But
Wow.
I looked at her. I'll never forget this. I looked at her and I said, I'm telling you right now, if and when I make it out of here, I am doing exactly what I want to do for myself, no matter what anyone says, no what anyone thinks, and I'm going
Mm,
to just live my life the way I need to for myself in order to make sure that I can keep pushing and make myself happy, because I felt like I was trying to make my parents happy. I was trying to make my siblings happy. I was trying to make everyone else around me happy, but it was destroying me inside. So um, I had to kind of take a back step and really reevaluate, everything. And I said, what do I want to do? Like, what do I really want to do? And I was like, I have to dance. I have to do something with dance. That's it. So I thank God um, I made it out of the hospital and stuff. And then I never looked back since. So I'd say it was that turning point that was from the young Neil to the Neil now, was that point right there.
And that's a major point. Not everybody has those kind of extremely life-changing moments, and I
Mm,
think a lot are still waiting for that. And maybe it's an understanding that we shouldn't have to go through something that big to
mm,
tell ourselves that we deserve to be happy.
correct.
And
Yeah.
but it is very true. A lot of the time, it takes things being altered or taken away, or unfortunately even being in a hospital, to be kind of
Mm,
like, well, I should live my life.
yeah.
And that was your pivotal moment of like, that's it, I'm dancing, I have to do something with dance. And then
Oh, yeah.
dance came about. How has the dance journey been for Neil?
Uh, I think like everyone, it has its, ups and downs, its highs and lows. It started out for me very emotional because I kept linking what had happened in my past to it.
Mm,
So I kind of brought it with me when instead of, if I'm going to bring it with me, I'm going to use it for strength instead of weakness. And that's what I kind of had to figure out for myself. But, I would kind of use what happened with my leg sometimes as a crutch. Like,
mm,
I would be like, oh, I have to be careful because of my leg, or I have to do this because of my leg, and yeah, so that's true. But I didn't even realize I was using it as like kind of an escape, or like a kind of like a scapegoat type deal,
oh, right,
where
right,
I was using it as an excuse, and because I was just so worried about what had happened in my past. And um, it was a rough start for me because I also didn't have a lot of people that believed in what I was about to do. And I mean, even people who I love very dearly today and who are very important in my life, I didn't have that full support when I first started. I really had to fight. Um, I had to fight. I have two incredibly wonderful and loving parents, whom I both just adore very much and are very supportive of me. But it took them a while to get there, just like any parent would. They cared about my safety. They cared about my, am I going to be able to support myself? The usual things that go with this career. So I can't, I can't knock them for any of that. But at the same time, there was a lot of moments like the friends at that time that I had, they all laughed at me when I told them that I wanted to do dance as a profession. They're like, I guess it's it's like typical now. It's pretty cliche. Like when you hear like, no, no, no. Well, what are you going to do actually for a living?
yeah,
It's that very condescending. Like I'm telling you that you are doing this as a hobby, and you're not going to be able to do this as a profession. You know, so I had to really get tough, really, really tough, because I think I wasn't as strong when I was younger. It was that blood clot that really woke me up and said, "All right, excuse my language, but get your, you know what I mean." I'm
yeah,
gonna watch my language, but get your stuff together, basically,
yeah.
and kick it into high gear. And that's what I had to do. So, um, I had to really create some very thick skin for myself and know where my support lied and when, where I didn't have support. And spent many a nights worried about how I was going to live and if I was going to be able to support myself, period. And also, if I was going to if I have to find new friends who are going to believe in what I do or just
Mm,
give me a hand here and there, like when I need to talk or just moral support. So it was a struggle, and then there was like everyone else, there was my own self doubt. Like I always kind of felt like when I was starting, like I would get recognition because I was so passionate. You could see my passion just like as like my sweat went down my body, like you could see how I lived, breathed, and sweat dance. How much it meant to me and how much it means to me to make this a career for myself. So you can never question my integrity, and you can never question my authenticity or my passion for it because it was real, and you could see that. But I had a lot of people that were judging me as far as my weight is concerned when I first started. I would go to auditions and I would hear things like, "Oh, um, you are too basically you're too fat to dance." I've gotten a bunch of that. You're too fat to dance, but you're a good dancer, or you know how to move, but you're not going to be able to fit into anything we're doing, or we don't know where to put you. So I was hearing that over and over and over again, and then I was being told, like, if I'm not a dancer first, if I don't book like 8,000 tours, then there's no way that I can be a dancer, or I mean, to be a professional dancer, or even be considered to be a professional dancer, or that I should stop. You know what I mean? I mean, there was a lot of negativity that was thrown at me, but I'm very thankful because in through that kind of pushing and shoving and trying to figure out where I belong, um, and where someone who's a genuinely good, I'm a good person. That's it. Like, I'm not a crappy person, So, I have two lovely parents who instilled in me acceptance and tolerance, and what is acceptable and what is not, and how to love others and how to embrace others and how to help others. You know what I mean? I have two incredible examples of that. You know what I mean? And just with myself as well, just through life, and how I am as a person. But, like, it doesn't really fit in this industry. Sometimes there's a lot of darkness
Oh,
in
it's so much.
yeah. So I said I'm going to challenge that, and if I'm alone, I'm alone. So I found a great group of friends who care about me, and I care about them so much, and want to see me succeed, and I want to see them succeed. And I found, and that's in and out of dance, which I think is very necessary. And then I found wonderful mentors who instilled so many positive things, and helped me to grow, not only as an educator and dancer, an artist, but just as a human. And I'm so thankful for that because it's very hard to find these days. So, I'm thankful at that time that I found, I mean, I could definitely name them by name, but I name them all the time. So I don't know if they'd be sick of me naming them, but, I have wonderful mentors who mean the world to me, and I would not be where I am without them today. So,
I
I
think
wouldn't
that
be where I am today without them. So,
yeah, it's important too that you recognize that. You brought up a really strong point, and people telling you you can't do something is more often than not based on their own insecurities, and they are actually afraid of what you might be capable of. And the
mm,
people that told you you were to this or to that to dance um, are afraid of anybody who maybe doesn't fit in a cute little normal box,
mm,
or that they fit in multiple boxes, or a
right.
box that they didn't even know could exist, or, like I said, no box at all maybe. But you broke the mold. You said, this is something that is so in me, and you were not delusional. You were an extremely talented human
Oh,
slash
thank
alien.
you.
So you kind of started something that didn't exist, and you blazed a path for people behind you, not to necessarily follow you, but to understand that they can make their own and break whatever mold that other people are trying to put them into. And I think that you share that
Mm,
with your students. Your values as a teacher are so incredible.
thank you
And
so much.
I always wondered, because you weren't seeing enough of you, and you weren't seeing as many people like you, is that part of why you became a teacher?
I wanted that. I think that's definitely, a part of it. Absolutely, 100%. But I think another reason I wanted to become a teacher. I mean, I'm a nurturer by nature. A nurturer by nature.
Woo.
Um, I, I, I mean, I love being around. I think, I think what it really was is that the things that happened to me that could have brought me down, I wanted to change for the better. Instead
Mm,
of letting it bring me down, like instead of allowing it to pull me down, I said I'm going to use this and I'm going to change the way it's happening. Um,
right.
and if, like I said, I decided a long time ago if that means that someone has a problem with the way I conduct or this, that, and the other, or someone's like, I don't know, then I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure always that every student that comes into my classroom knows that they're in a safe environment, first and foremost,
Mm,
and knows that they can be who they are and be themselves. And it's perfect. You know what I mean? They don't have to be anyone else but themselves. So I think that hearing no, hearing you're fat, hearing you have to do this in order to do this, and you have to do that in order to do that. And if you don't do this, then you're not a dancer, and you're not a good person, and you're not a blah, 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 blah. Like just being pushed down into dirt. Yeah. Um, and I said, I want to teach, and I want to teach others. I want to push people forward. Now,
mm,
I understand that there's also tough love, and tough love does help you to reach your goals. I've had a lot of tough love in my past, especially in this career. You know what I mean? And it's definitely made me stronger. But I think there's also a line between that, and that's why I conduct my class the way I conduct it. And I've been teaching for over 10 years. I've been 12 years. Yeah. Um, and and that's why teaching, I think, I just realized that teaching has become, each year I teach, I realize more and more how much I love being an educator first.
mm.
You can call me a choreographer, you can call me an artist, you can call me this, you can call me that, but I want educator first.
I love that. I think I also consider myself educator first because my
Mm,
ultimate goal is to properly instill values in the next generation. And you and I
mm,
have had great conversations about this too.
mm.
What can we do better as educators? Anybody who's wanting to be a teacher, anyone who's currently a teacher, been teaching for a while, what have you seen? What can we do? What can we aspire to be?
First of all, that's an awesome, awesome question. I think that there's so many incredible tools that I've learned over the years from educators that I'm so inspired by. Just to name a couple off the bat, just because they're just incredible individuals and humans, is Chonique. Excuse me. Oh, my allergies are so bad. um,
Not
is,
COVID, just allergies.
no, it's just allergies. I swear. um, is Chonique Sneed, Lisette Bustamante, Luam. Um, I've learned so much from Joanna Numata. I've learned, oh my gosh, from Dana Foglia, from Jonte, Ramon, Rhapsody, um, uh, Eric Jenkins. I got to keep naming just because I'm inspired by so many. Um, One of my favorite instructors right now to this day, I think she is such a beautiful educator, is Andy J.
Yeah.
She is one of my favorites. I I of course I've been following her for years, and I've become very friendly with her, and friends with her, and I love her very much, very dearly. Um, but I got to take her class, and I'm like, oh, it's so refreshing. She's just so involved with her students, and she just wants everyone to win. She wants you to work, which is the one thing that I instill too. Like it's not just going to get handed to you. You know what I mean? You're going to have to work for it, of course. But
Mhm.
but if you work hard enough, she's going to grab you by your hand and she'll pull you through. You know what I mean? And she'll
Right.
give you the tools that you need in order to be a successful educator. And she has a wonderful program out right now called Teaching Future Teachers, and
Yes.
she I don't know, she just is everything to me, and gives me a lot of faith with with the industry. Especially with everything going on now. And then also, I love Lee Daniel, Sienna Lyons, Jessica Castro. Um, I love her down to the ground, Danielle Polanco. I mean, these are all just, they are Darrell Bullock. Sorry, excuse me. There's just, I mean, I could go on and on, but these are educators who have so much knowledge and so much um, uh, passion inside them, and they teach so well, and so I take different things that from different classes I've taken, and then I mold into my own, and I've created different techniques for myself. Sorry if I kind of got on a little tangent, but
No, it's great. It's great to hear people genuinely appreciate those that help them. I think a lot of dancers nowadays pretend that they didn't have any help. So I like
oh
that you
no.
are so vocal about those that have helped you and
Oh,
inspired you. Yeah, keep it going. All good.
oh no, yeah. Like, and also I have to, I have to shout her out because she's just everything to me as my agent. She's seen me since I was a baby, basically, and she's always been supportive of me, even when people would say that I was too big for this, that, and the other. She always believed in me. So, it's those individuals. I would not be where I am today without their love and support and their belief in me, even when I felt so low I did not even believe in myself, and making excuses for myself and all of that. So, I'm the first one to admit, I've had so much help, and I'm so thankful and lucky. And even though I've experienced those negative and dark things, I was able to push those aside and go straight into the light. Thank gosh, and that's the way that I will continue to go. And whoever would like to come into the light with me. So,
Yes, and I think we need more and more light in this world, especially now. You've taken and you've been inspired by so many, and we just heard amazing examples of true educators and inspirations to so many in the dance community and outside. And
right.
you took a lot of the things, and you even mentioned it yourself. You took them and you brought them into what it is that you do, and you created something special. And I want you to talk a little bit about how the whole 80s baby came to
Yeah.
be. It's an entire entity, like it's a persona, it's a style, it's a
Oh,
character, it's a vibe, it's an everything basically. I want to hear more about it.
oh, thank you so much. And it means a lot that you want to hear about it. I really appreciate that. It is my everything. It's me. I think that I was always, and I get emotional with this because you heard me the last time we were on your
I
IG live.
know.
I get so emotional because it's so important to me. I have two incredibly amazing older siblings whom I look up to so much, and I'm so thankful to have them in my life. They're both incredible human beings, and they're both very special to me. And they're older than me, so I got to listen to the music that inspired them from age 3 on,
Yeah.
and um, I mean, I got to listen. I mean, I would sit outside. I said this the last time, but I would sit for hours, and I mean like hours, just with my ear pressed to their door and listening to all this music that it just it just I don't know, it just made me awake, like it awoke in me. What's the proper way to say that?
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. um, it just it was artists like Tears for Fears, Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, Erasure, of course, New Edition, but New Order. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of like Till Tuesday.
So many.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Take Two. I think they're called Take Two. Inner City. Um, Let me just make sure because I love Ten City. Excuse me. Inner City, Ten City. Two Unlimited. And Technotronic was huge for me. Who does Pump Up the Jam?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was just so taken back. I didn't want to listen. My parents were very strict on what I was allowed to listen to, and I was very rebellious. I was like, I told you I was a brat, but I was basically like, no, I'm not going to listen to that crap. So I was like, I'm going to listen to good music. And I
Yeah.
remember sitting, 5 years old and just with my ear pressed at the door, and I would cry. I would be in tears because I connected to this music so much. And it was the music of the 80s that just brought, it just made me so happy. And I can't really explain it in words, but I was so connected to that era, and that I said, I love the 90s, don't get me wrong. There's so many incredible things about the 90s, you know? And I feel like that was my real era that I grew up in, but I was a baby in the 80s, and I feel like I should have been a teen in the 80s.
Right.
I felt gypped, but, you know, but thank God I had the 90s, thank gosh. But it was that just I felt like I was understanding who I was as a human, as a person, as an individual, as an artist. And when I listen to music from the 80s now, I just cry. Like I started a vinyl collection, and I just sit and I'll listen to vinyls before I go to sleep, and I'll be in tears because not out of sadness. I'm just so happy. It just brings so much joy to me. It makes me just so happy because it feels like myself. I feel like myself. I don't feel like
Mm.
that. I don't feel. I feel so artistically fulfilled. And I said to myself, I have to apply this to my art. Um, Otherwise, I was losing my passion for my art at one point. And I just remember I was looking at a bunch of like different GIFs and stuff like that. And then I was just playing around with them on my on Final Cut, and just kind of playing around. And then I would add some music to it, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is cool! Like, I should keep going with this." And then I was like, "Huh, who is this created by?" I used to go by Dreidel because that's what my mother called me when I was a baby.
And I remember that, and I was like, I wonder if he's Jewish.
I am so Jewish, and yeah, no,
So good.
and I love that because I'm very close with my mother, so I love that very much, the dreidel. But I said I don't think I want to be called dreidel anymore. I said, who would I want if someone's looking at me like, how would I want them to understand me? And well, I was a baby in the 80s, so 80s baby. Like, I feel like it fits perfectly with the with that era, just kind of the tagline of it with that era, kind of like the simplicity but cheesy, um, but it sticks, and and that's what I wanted to be called, you know. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to have ass it. I'm going to go 100% in it, and you're going to really know me as 80s baby until it makes you sick of watching my stuff.
You know?
So, you know, it's not the only thing that defines me as an artist. You know, there, you know, I love all genres of music, especially electronic. Uh, but I I want those to understand how much this era meant and means to me and my art, and I want to continue it that way. And it because it helped me find myself as just a person, and it brought a lot of, and it continues to bring so much happiness to my life, especially with everything that's going on today. Um, you know, with so much darkness that we have and so much evil and um, you know,
So much.
and hate, I it gives me that light to keep moving. So,
Uh,
you know, I when you see everything I do with 80s baby, it's coming directly from my heart, purely.
uh, that's so beautiful. Like the concept of 80s baby is more than music. It's your catalyst, it was your awakening, let's say, your artistry, your true self, your light, and not everyone is fortunate enough to find themselves that way. And I feel like you discovered and embraced your uniqueness, your authentic and genuine self. You know, you're the one that said to me, real recognizes real.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
just hearing about this, it makes me realize how many, not just dancers out there, do not ever get to live to their full potential or find their true selves this genuinely. So, what maybe would be some words of wisdom or inspiration or advice for anyone out there trying to find, you know, their 80s baby boom, you know?
Oh, I like that. Well, you know, I've been able to say to myself, you know, am I like if someone would ask me like, am I weird? Am I awkward? Am I hell yeah. I embrace it 110%. And I'd rather be weird and awkward and different than the same as everybody else. I
Yeah.
I just decided, and I'm not knocking the way anybody goes at all, ever. If you like, if you know personally, like I'm using him as an example because he's one of my best friends, and he's just so authentically himself. But um, like just like 80s baby is for me, if you watch Jared Jenkins,
Mm,
um, he loves 90s R&B, and it just it's so beautiful what he creates from the 90s era. He's a 90s baby. No, but he's 80s.
yeah, he's an 80s baby too, but yeah.
uh, but what he creates is utter, it's brilliant. It's so brilliant, and he's created his own thing, you know what I mean? Just like you know, just as also like Candace, like she is just so authentically beautifully herself as an artist, you know what I mean? And has her niche and her I mean, she can do anything. So can Joe. But
Right?
you know, these two artists can do anything, you know. But they have their core of what inspires them and what inspires others, and it's just so authentic, you know. And they've worked so hard and created that for themselves. So I think something like that is so beautiful because it's a journey, you know. And I like to say that a journey is better than, you know, a short trip, because you find out. I mean, I've been on my journey for 15 years.
Yeah.
No, no. Wait, lies. I've been on my journey for like 20 years.
Fact
but
check.
it's such a beautiful journey because through my highs and my lows, I'm still continuing with this journey. It's still going. So I think that's what's beautiful about kind of taking your time and seeing where you fit in, and or not even fit in, what feels good for you. I don't want people to feel like that they can't be themselves and make their mark in this industry.
Mm.
You can make your mark by being yourself. You
Oh
don't
my
have to
goodness.
you don't have to follow someone else who you think is going to get you to where you need to go.
Yeah.
You can go on the same road as them, but you can also yield left, yield right, and go down a little bit of a different path, and you'll meet them there too.
Mm. Mm.
And like I said, I'm not knocking anyone for the way that they want to train, for the way that they want to listen to music, for the way that they what inspires them, or this, that, and the other. Um, I, Everyone's on a different journey and on a different path, and I appreciate and I love everyone for what they're doing. But I never, for me, I always want someone, because back in the day when I was having students in my class,
Right.
it'll come back, it'll come back. But I, I when I would say my speeches and when I would say different things, I would see, different artists lock eyes with me and connect. And that's something that they needed to hear in order to push themselves to do what they want to do. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, yeah, just for me, when I was first starting, you knew who Luam was. You knew who Rhapsody was. You
Right.
knew who Danielle Polanco is. Excuse me. You know who Kevin Maher is. You know who Chonique is. You know who Lisette is. You know who Tony Testa is. You know who Jermaine Brown is. You know who Jonte is, etc., etc., etc. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Sorry, I had an itch. It was on my beard. um, um, you know who these artists are, and they were themselves. They're themselves. All they had to do was be themselves, and they've made such inspirational, incredible, beautiful careers out of it, being authentically who they are. And I think that is so incredible to see. And not saying that you don't see that as much now, but you don't see that as much right now. Um, and again, no one in particular or anything like that. But I just as a whole, I don't see those try and be authentically themselves as much. And I want to let them know, whoever's listening, whoever feels that way, you can be authentically yourself. You
Mm.
can go down a different path than others are going. You can make your mark, and you can fulfill all your dreams, just
Oof.
as you would do the other way.
Yes. Yes. That's the 80s baby boom right there.
Boom.
I
80s baby.
love it. I love it. And
80s
something I've
baby.
been saying, yeah, I'm doing it. Something I've been saying for a really long time is, if there isn't a seat at the table for you, most people say make room, but I've just been saying make a whole new table. And I think
I,
you make a whole new table.
I love when you said that. I love when you said that the other day on your IG. That was beautiful. Yes, absolutely. If someone, you know, doesn't accept you or love you for who you are, that's okay. Move
Yeah,
on, because there will be others who will see what you have to offer and embrace that.
absolutely. And just like those friends with your air quotes, you discover,
Oh, they're
yeah,
long gone.
yeah, you discover along the way that those aren't really your friends at all. And
Yeah,
sometimes those things that we lose is actually a major win for us.
yeah,
And your journey keeps going. And why I called this podcast The Artistic Process is because it's a constant process, a constant journey. And the word artist is inartistic because we're also constantly working on ourselves.
absolutely.
You even said to me quite recently, you have more in store for you too. You're learning, you've got new things that excite you. So before I let you go, let's
Yeah.
just let everybody know what's in store next for 80s Baby. And
You know?
Neil and any other fun things.
Well, I'm excited because I was asked to be a flower girl at a wedding. Woo! And that was one of my dreams.
Amazing. Come on
um,
now.
but some things that I have coming up is I want to slowly, eventually, when things start opening up again or virtual, we'll see what happens. Is I want to do an entire '80s baby show that is based on my life through the music of the '80s, and I hope to be able to pitch that as well. So that is my next. Excuse me. That is my next venture, and of course, besides teaching, I teach at Broadway and traveling. I'm, starting to really dive into acting, which I'm really excited about as well. That's my new venture,
Love it.
and I'm really happy about it. And then I'm also really excited to be part of Project Ray,
Oh,
which
very
I'm
true.
so happy and honored to be a part of. And thank you, of course, for even considering me. And I am 100% there. I love what you stand for. I love the structure of the program and the movement. And I think that you are an incredible, incredible, not only artist, but educator and individual and human. And it's an honor to be a part of it. So I thank you for including me on it, which I'm really.
Oh my gosh, of course. Listen, for it's going to come out soon, but Neil is one of our amazing ambassadors. And as you've all heard, true testament to the fact that he's an amazing educator. He'll be helping with educational techniques and teaching etiquette that we would love for up and coming teachers, current teachers to kind of apply. We want to make this world a better place. And as dance
Mm,
teachers, we have a great responsibility molding young minds, and we need to do
absolutely.
a really, really good job. Neil, I thank you so much for being here today, for being
Thank
who
you
you
so much
are,
for having
for
me.
sparkling and shining so, so, so bright. I love you forever and
I
ever, my
love you
sweet.
more. I love you most.
You win. Okay, fine. You win.
Okay. I
Take care.
love you. Mwah.
Neil is such a beautiful soul. He just sparkles, and we need more sparkle. Fill the world with more light, your light. You owe it to yourself to be uniquely you, to be kind and genuine and real. And finding your own '80s baby can now be such a beautiful part of the artistic process.